what's up? Richie here with your Friday previews for week 1. I did the Thursday. There'll be other ones for the Saturday and the other games. I'm going to jump in here. There's 8 games on Friday. Let's get to it. Rice and Army. Rice got 12 returning starters. They're losing their quarterback. Army, 11-win season. They have the potential to maybe go undefeated next year. Or this season, I mean. They play Michigan like week 2 or 3. And if they get past that, their schedule's pretty easy after that. They get quarterback Kelvin Hopkins returning. They run a triple option, so Kelvin Hopkins actually ran for 1,017 yards and 17 rushing touchdowns, as well as passing for 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns, which, like I said, triple option, that's all you need. So I think Army will win that one. The next game on Friday will be Tulsa and Michigan State. Tulsa has 14 returning starters. They also have Baylor transfer Zach Smith coming in, which is interesting because the head coach, Philip Montgomery, for Tulsa was a Baylor offensive coordinator. Tulsa's got running backs Shamari Brooks and Corey Taylor. Let me read some stats for you. Shamari Brooks ran for 967. Corey Taylor ran for 846 last season. Then they have a really good linebacker in Cooper Edmonston, who had 113 tackles, half a sack, 7 tackles for loss, 1 pass breakup, 4 interceptions, and 3 quarterback hurries. So Tulsa could be improved maybe this year, but they're taking out Michigan State, one of the best defenses in the country. Terrible offense last season, but they should be better. They have quarterback Brian Lewerke, who had a really bad 2018 season, but in 2017 he had 20 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. If you can get back to that, Michigan State could win the Big Ten Conference. And with that kind of offense they may or may not have, they're going to rely on their kicker, Matt Coughlin. He was 18 of 22 last year, and that could very well be the difference between going 6-6 like they did last year, losing a bowl, which they lost 7-6 by the way, and maybe winning a Big Ten championship. They have one of the best linebackers in the country in Joe Bacci, I think it's Bacci. 102 tackles, 1 sack, 7.5 tackles for loss, 5 pass breakups, and 1 interception. Then you got one of the better defensive ends in the country in Kenny Willix, who had 8.5 sacks last year and 78 tackles, which is a lot for a defensive lineman. I'll go Michigan State there. All right, the game of the day, I think, Friday, Wisconsin coming to Tampa to play the South Florida Bulls. I'm in Tampa. I'm a South Florida fan. I'm more of a Gator fan, but I root for the Florida teams except the Seminoles. So you got Wisconsin. You got the Doak Walker Award winner, Jonathan Taylor, back. He had 2,194 rushing yards last year. They have a top 5 quarterback recruit in Graham Mertz, but that's kind of the issue is you're gonna have a true freshman starting at quarterback. Wisconsin always has a pretty good defense, but all Wisconsin has is the running back. Granted, he's great, and that's usually all Wisconsin has anyway. They usually don't. Russell Wilson was a 1-year grad starter transfer there. Usually their quarterbacks throw like 15 touchdowns and hand it off to guys that run for 1,500 yards. So that'll be interesting because USF. They started great last year, 7-0, ended terrible. Lost their last 6. But they got a new offensive coordinator, Kerwin Bell, who was the head coach of Valdosta State at lower division the last couple of years, and they led the nation the last few years in like scoring and total offense. They're changing the USF offense to USF Fast, kind of like UC Fast over in UCF in Orlando. They have a Blake Bell quarterback. He was solid. He was okay last year, whatever, but he should fit this offense pretty well. We got running back Jordan Cronkright, had over 1,100 rushing yards. You got tight end Mitchell Wilcox, maybe one of the best tight ends in the country. Cornerback Mike Hampton, he had 16 pass breakups and 2 interceptions, one of the top statistical defensive backs in the country, and kicker Kobe Weiss, who was 15 of 18. This game could come down to that kicker. I think it'll be interesting. I'm going upset here, South Florida. That'll be a really good game. What will not be a really good game is UMass and Rutgers. Both are terrible. UMass only has 8 returning starters total. They lost their best player, wide receiver, Andy Isabella. He got drafted. They're starting over at quarterback. They had like 3 quarterbacks. They're all gone. Rutgers, they have transfers McLean Carter from Texas Tech and Johnny Langham from Boston College, which is good because their true freshman quarterback, Artur Satowski, needs to sit down now. He fucking sucks. He had 4 touchdown passes. He completed 49%, which is shit. 4 touchdown passes, which is shit. 18 interceptions, which is friggin' terrible. Like, yeah, I get it. He's a true freshman. There's true freshmen. Normally, a true freshman might have, like, you might complete 53%. The completion percentage is not that big of a deal for a true freshman. The 49% is bad, but yeah. But even then, even if they throw 18 picks, they'll throw like 10, 13, 15 touchdowns, whatever, right? This guy sucks. I don't know why they kept him, but whatever. Their best player is running back Raheem Blackshear. He led their team in rushing and in receiving and catches. And honestly, he might be the difference, and they might win like 10-7 because of him. Like, this would be a terrible game. I mean, I'll still watch it, but shit game. Utah State, Wake Forest. All right, I'm excited about this one. Utah State, they had 11 wins last year. They actually had the number 2 scoring offense in the country. They were number 1 like all season long, basically up until like the last 2 weeks. They were number 1, but they're losing a lot. They got 9 starters back and only 2 on offense. But the 2 on offense, the one of them is Jordan Love. He's one of the best quarterbacks, in my opinion, in the nation. Period. Definitely one of the top ones in the group of 5. And let me throw you some stats here. They lost their running back Darwin Thompson, but they got this guy Jordan Love. Let me read you what he did last season. So last season, Jordan Love completed 64% of his passes for 3,567 yards, 32 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. I think he's great. They got only 2 returning starters. Their head coach, Matt Wells, went to Texas Tech, but their, quote, new head coach, Gary Anderson, he's back here. He was the Utah State head coach from 2009 to 2012, and when he left, they won 11 years his last season. He turned Utah State around from being one of the worst colleges in the country, hadn't made a bowl, and I don't remember how long, and he made a couple of bowl games in his years, and they've been pretty steady like ever since, obviously winning 11 games last year. And then you got linebacker David Woodward, who had 134 tackles, 5 sacks, 7.5 tackles for loss, 3 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and 4 quarterback hurries. And then Tiba Galea at defensive end only was 10.5 sacks. Hell, his stat line, 64 tackles, 10.5 sacks, 3.5 tackles for loss, 3 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and 7 quarterback hurries. So their defense should be solid. Their offense, I still think, will be really good. Then you got Wake Forest over here, who made a bowl last year. Running back Kate Conant comes back. He had 1,000 yards last year, 1,005 to be exact. They have 2 quarterbacks in Sam Hartman and Jamie Newman. Let's go back to 125 so I can read. Sam Hartman had 16 touchdown passes, 8 picks. Jamie Newman had 9 to 4. They are losing Greg Dortch, who was a 1,000-yard wide receiver. They have a good kicker Nick Saiba, 19-22. A good linebacker in Justin Sternad, 105 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 5 pass breakups, 2 quarterback hurries, and one of the best corners in the ACC, at least in Essang Bassi, who had 15 pass breakups and 1 interception. So I went with the upset here. Utah State. This I think will be a pretty good game, back and forth. Pretty close anyway. I'll go Utah State there. All right, then you got Purdue. Nevada has the potential to be high scoring, both basically air raid kind of offenses. Purdue, they're losing David Blau, who, what's the name? That name again is David Blau. But Elijah Sindelar started a bunch of games last year. They should be really solid. They have one of the best players in the country, Rondale Moore. His first game last year, he had like 300 plus yards of offense. He had over 1,100 yards receiving last year. He was the first Big Ten true freshman to be a unanimous All-American. He's awesome. They have linebacker Marcus Bailey. Let's go look at some of his stats. Marcus Bailey had 115 tackles, 5.5 sacks, 4.5 tackles for loss, 2 pass breakups, 1 interception, and a quarterback hurry. Nevada, they lost their quarterback, Ty Ganji. Their quarterback might be the Netflix University star, Last Chance U, Malik Henry, the former Florida State idiot. And not because he went to Florida State, but if you saw Netflix U, he's a friggin' idiot. They have a pretty good running back until Tower ran for like 800 yards. But I'm going to go Purdue here, but that'll be an interesting game. Colorado State, they're losing. They got maybe quarterback Colin Hill back. He's okay. They lost a lot of stuff. Colorado has got Steven Montez, one of the best quarterbacks in the Pac-12. They lost a running back, but they have one of the best wide receivers in the country, Laviska Shenault, who had 1,000 yards. Really good defensive players and linebacker Nate Landman and defensive end Mustafa Johnson. So I'll go Colorado there. That'll be a good one. All right, then the final game on Friday night, Oklahoma State taking on Oregon State. Oklahoma State, they're losing their quarterback Taylor Cornelius. They're losing one of their top runners of all time in Justice Hill. But they do have wide receiver Tylan Wallace back, who I think is the best wide receiver in the country. I think he should have won the Biletnikoff last year. But whatever. Kicker, and then they got a really good kicker, Matt Amendola. He was 16 of 22, which will be good because they're starting over a lot on offense. So, their coach, Mike Gundy, knows how to get an offense going, but at least early on, and maybe in this game. Because Oregon State, they weren't very good last year, but they got quarterback Jake Luton. They got running back Jamar Jefferson, who might be one of the best running backs in the country. He was a true freshman and ran for 1,380, I think it was, something like that, about 1,400 yards. A really good safety, and Jalen Moore had over 100 tackles. This game might be pretty go back and forth a little bit. I'm giving Oklahoma State the edge, even though it's in Oregon State. They are starting over a lot of spots, but I'm going to Oklahoma State here. So there's my Friday previews. Watch back for look for my Thursday ones, look for my Saturday ones, and then Labor Day ones, Sunday, Monday. Peace.